I am the CRM Ninja, and on today's episode of the Oops Factor, I have Seth Bacon joining me. Welcome to the show, Seth.
Hey, UI.
It's great to have you on.
Thanks. It's great to be here. Excited to share experiences, and hopefully other people can learn from them.
It's what it's all about. I have to say, I was very impressed that you already knew about my channel and had come across it, because a lot of people have never heard of it. So, yay!
Yes, when you have a name like that, it's very intriguing. What was Oops, and how is that now a factor and everything? And so yeah, it's fun to watch other people's Oops, and that gave me a little confidence and a little security that it'll be okay to come on and share my own.
Don't worry, this is a safe space. You can say whatever you want. I don't take offense. Viewers rarely take offense, so it's all good.
Good.
I mean, we've had people on here who could, if they wanted to, become professional offenders in the sense of giving offense to people. Offenses,
Right.
offender. I've got no idea what they'd be. I'm too tired.
Yeah, hopefully that's not me, and hopefully it's not a career path I'm looking to go down. But yeah.
Nah. Besides, I know that if you did that, Dion would come after you with a big stick.
Dion, yeah, Dion is your biggest friend. But yeah, she will make sure you stay in line for sure.
Indeed. So I wanted to ask you something, because I know that you have a hobby of gaming. Hence my background. I think my head is in the middle of a massive TV or something. How'd you get into it? What'd you do with it?
Yeah, so I got into gaming, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and it was something that my brothers and I live throughout the United States. I have one in Phoenix, one in North Carolina, one in DC, so almost all the different four corners. And so there was an opportunity to connect. We played video games growing up, and so then we started playing video games as adults, and it was an opportunity to see each other once a week and just hang out and to talk. And so that's how we got into it. And when I started creating content for videos and stuff like that, those computers often make really good gaming systems as well. And so that was kind of my
coincidentally.
Yeah, I mean, it just happens that
those if you have together. If you're rendering graphics for for videos and stuff, it just so happens they play games really well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was just testing it. We'd see what happens. But yeah. So it was really nice because it cut the render time from, like, if it was an hour to render, it cut it down to, like 10 minutes. And so it made a huge difference when rendering video. So it was very productive. And during that time, you could play video games. So that's how I got into it.
Pro tip to people: if you're looking for a video game system, sell it to your boss as you need a high quality machine for rendering video.
Right. Yep. And then you need the graphics cards to make sure we're going through and processing it and the renderings. Yep. Yeah. It saves time.
Definitely. So you use gaming for essentially for family time with your siblings across time zones and states and places.
Yep. So we do that. And then that led into watching Twitch streams and stuff like that. And so it's been fun to watch Jonas's son, Bravado, who's a part of a professional team. And so tracking him and following his journey has been really neat as well.
Indeed. I think recently he gained his follower count on Twitter went over Jonas's.
Yeah, it went over his dad's. So that's he's up and coming. It's fun to watch him, and he's got a lot of great skills, and he plays a tough role on a great team. So
yeah, I haven't watched any of what he does. I haven't had time to yet, but imagine if he created a gaming thing for XRM Toolbox.
I think that would be a lot of fun. I would engage.
Instant winner.
Yeah.
Instant winner. So what are your favorite games you would play with your brothers?
Yeah, so a lot of it's is League of Legends, and so that's a fairly popular one. It's quick to get in and out. It's half an hour or so for each of the games, and so that makes it easy to spend time with family, spend time with them. And at the end of the an hour or so, you can get off and feel like you accomplished something, feel like you connected with them, and be able to get back to the family here. So do that, and then a little of the larger world multiplayer builds and stuff like that. So get involved in some of those where you need more people and teamwork and stuff like that to build things.
Got it. That sounds really good. I've never tried gaming with my siblings, to be honest, but that's probably because we throw things at each other if we were in person or something, or who knows what would happen. But maybe one day we'll try it.
It helps that we have distance between us after some of the games.
I can fully agree with that. So moving swiftly on, and putting some distance between that, what do you have to share with us for the oops factor?
Yeah, so when I was thinking about sort of the biggest oops that I've had in my career, one of them came back, and it's always on the top of the list. Is one time it was early in my career. I think I was doing consulting, had been in it for almost a year at that point, and had learned about solutions. And we were using solutions to move things in, and so it was an on-premise environment. Well, loaded up the solution, was going through it, needed to remove an entity from a solution.
Okay.
Before we move on. And so what I did is I said, okay, I'm going to delete this entity from here, and then I'm going to re-add it to the solution later and go through. Come to find out that it was I wasn't in dev, I was in production. And that when you delete a solution or delete an entity from a solution, that deletes the table. And so I had deleted, the table was gone. Like there was no data, everything was gone.
Just to point out, this is a managed solution, right?
It was probably not a managed solution.
Okay, fine.
I don't remember. I just remember clicking that button and being like, okay, let me go find it. But yeah.
Okay, because nowadays, so when you deploy an unmanaged solution, if you delete it, it's gone from the front end, but the data's still there in the back end. So that's just why I was asking.
That's a good question. I've never tried to do. Since then, I've not deleted solutions. I don't delete solutions. And so, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So you deleted the solution. And what made you realize then that everything had gone underneath?
So when I went back to the front end and started looking for the data and remembering, okay, which form do I need to edit or which one do I need to change? And I looked through the sitemap, couldn't find anything. I looked using the advanced find editor, couldn't find it. Looked at my URL, realized it was in the wrong, it was not in dev. And so I switched over to dev, immediately found it in the sitemap. And that's where I was like, I must have deleted this. And so, yeah, so that was a long evening and a long next day to get things back and to work with the team.
Did you have a backup?
We didn't have a recent backup. I think the backup was 3 days old. Wow, and thankfully it wasn't a core table. It was I don't think it was an activity table, but it was a lightly used entity.
Okay.
And so it wasn't a huge deal. And so we had the data elsewhere. And so we were able to move that data in. But that was a lot of importing, massaging of data, updating created dates, modified dates, owners, and all that kind of stuff. As you're re-migrating all this data back into, after you recreated the table. So again, you migrate the solution over that actually had the item in it, and then do the data migration portion of it. And so, yeah, it was, again, it wasn't the online where you could just, we take a backup like every morning type of thing. It was a backup from days ago. So, yeah.
And of course, updating things like creation updates and other stuff, you needed to write scripts for it or have some serious integration software running to be able to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Nowadays, we just have XRN toolbox.
Yeah. So
just putting another plug out there, Jonas, you are going to see this episode. So we mentioned you at least 3 times.
This. Hoping Bravado retweet this, maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was I think one of the largest mistakes I've made. And being on the partner side, it was all that larger of an issue because here it is, the partner that's supposed to know what he's doing. He's gone through and deleted something. And so every time I've ever tried to remove a solution or remove something from a solution, I check 3 or 4 times. Is this the right one? Because they're still right next to each other. I feel like delete and then remove. And so, yeah, so that was something I learned, and it gave me empathy for anytime anybody's done anything on a project going forward. And so I now have this empathy where, again, you learn to make backups before and make sure that we have backups going on a regular basis. But at the same time, anybody that's worked with me and anybody in the future that works with me and comes back and watches this, know that I've done some incredibly dumb things, and there's nothing you can do in CRM that we can't fix. My wife's a nurse, and so my bad day compared to her bad day is very different, and so perspective is important. And deleting a table is not bad.
True.
Yeah,
that is true. And so one little trick that we do, because they can be very similar and very similar URLs, especially if you haven't put a friendly C name there for it.
Yeah.
We change the banners. So we put different colors for the banner, and we put text to say it's sandbox. I mean, for sandbox nowadays, it actually says it's a sandbox environment.
Right.
But if you have different production environments, which are really not quite, one is a proper production one, and the other one's the other variants. We put banners, we put yellow, orange, blue, green, purple, nice. You name it. Very, very visual cue.
And that's great. Because from a developer's perspective, it's an easy reference. And again, if you're doing that between projects, or even if you're on the same project, that quick visual indicator goes a long way into reminding you where you're at and what you're doing.
Well, when I started to do it a couple of years back, we just did it as a visual thing. And then somebody very nicely pointed out that if people are colorblind, it wouldn't help as such, depending on the color and what color blindness they were. So we put the banner and we put text in the middle of it as well. We put a custom, we just put something into Paint and shove it in there. So it's easy to see. Like, Paint is great for a lot of things. So
yeah, there's a reason it's still around.
Well, Microsoft did try and remove it recently, and then there was a fuss and they brought it back.
I missed that one.
They removed it for one of the latest Windows 10 builds or something, and then there was such an uproar that Microsoft were forced to put it back in.
Yeah, the other way, I randomly came across what is it, like a 3D Paint that was in a Windows build.
Paint
so that was
3D.
Kind of cool. Yeah.
Never liked it.
So played around with that. Yeah.
Never liked it. I much preferred the original.
Well, yeah. Drawing lines and stuff like that, and little pixels.
I've seen some masterpieces done purely with Paint.
Yeah,
it's like pixel perfect masterpieces of nature and stuff.
Yeah, it's reminds me of Etch-a-Sketch, and so that ability to really create these incredible things, it just takes time, effort, and patience. And so as you're going through that, but and a little skill for sure. I'm still working on my Stickman.
Don't shake that Etch-a-Sketch.
Don't
shake it.
Yeah.
I saw a digital version actually of it for a mobile device, which obviously it doesn't physically shake it, but it uses the accelerometer to know if you're shaking it to clean the screen.
I'm going to download that after we get off the call.
Yeah,
I'm going to check that out.
So some really good stories there, and very important lessons to learn. And I'm not going to get into the unmanaged versus managed debate, because it's just not worth it, according to lots of people, and I tend to stay out of those sort of things. But go take a look at the documentation around it and what each one does. Now I'm going to ask you who you'd like to nominate to appear on the show to hear their Oops Factor story.
Yeah, I don't know if you've had Gus Gonzalez on yet.
I have not had Gus Gonzalez. I actually reached out to Gus a while back, and it's like, drop the details, dude. And I dropped in the details. And then I followed up with him a few months later. Yeah. And then I followed up. So Gus, you have now been officially nominated. Just pointing out.
Yeah, he's got some good stories.
He has. But as host of the CRM MVP podcast.
Yep.
I don't know why he can still call it CRM. I mean, we all refer to it as CRM, but
Yeah. That's a longer discussion about branding and what is a CRM system, and is Dynamics a CRM system?
Well, look, okay. I am the CRM ninja. So if I'm the CRM ninja,
you guys should be partners. Yeah.
Gus can stick with the CRM MVP podcast. No problem. Anyhow, wonderful. I will reach out to him and let him know he's been nominated.
There you go.
Thank you so much for your time, viewers. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. Feel free to check out the rest of the Oops Factor playlist, subscribe to the channel, check out the blog. And if you would like to come and appear on the show, feel free, hit the link below, fill out your details, and I'll drop you a line. Have a great day.